Kamala Harris's anti-Christian rhetoric and anti-Christian approach to public policy. I don't think that we've, that's right, Jesus is king, and I don't think that we've seen
the J.D. Vance rally, and when someone in the crowd yelled, "Jesus is king," he said, "That's right, Jesus is king." Said, "Jesus is Lord" at a Kamala rally, and you're dragged out of there being insulted and even assaulted by a crazy old lady, a young man being assaulted by a crazy old Democrat lady. Probably with a checkered past, I'm just guessing. It's a remarkable political party. They'd like your vote. You should not give them your vote. That is generous understatement once again. Isn't that amazing? Now, President Trump told a funny joke at the Al Smith dinner the other day about, what is it, white dudes for Kamala? Is that what it is, white dudes for Kamala? And at white guys, it's white guys, right? White guys for Harris. White guys for Harris is a bunch of losers whose brains do not work as designed, as intended by God. And since there is this organization that they have to racialize everything, don't they? White, and then guys, they don't know what guys are anymore. Guys have wombs as far as they're concerned. They're easily confused. But white guys for Harris. And President Trump, now Kamala was not at the Al Smith dinner because she hates Catholics, and she's anti-Catholic and anti-fracking, too. What does that have to do with it? Never mind. Just roll with it. And so President Trump made a joke at the Al Smith dinner, and it was a pretty good joke about, Democrats and their infidelities. They're all a bunch of hosers. You can't trust them any farther than you could throw Ted Kennedy's Oldsmobile off of a bridge at Chappaquiddick, which is not very far. But President Trump made a joke the other night at the Al Smith dinner in New York.
There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris. Doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me. Every one of those people is voting for me.
He's not worried about white dudes for Harris because their wives and their wives' lovers are going to vote for me. That reminds me of Olivia Nuzzi, the crazy reporter that was sending dirty pictures and dirty videos to RFK Jr., right? And he said, what's up with that? I guess they were, RFK Jr. and his wife were at the Al Smith dinner together the other night. Didn't I read that? And what's her name again? She's that actress. She's on Curb Your... Yeah, Cheryl Hines. She's on Curb Your Enthusiasm, or was on Curb Your Enthusiasm. I don't think they're still making those, but I could be wrong. Pretty funny show. Larry David's funny. Yeah, but Olivia Nuzzi, she's engaged to a news reporter, Ryan Lizza. Now, if Ryan Lizza married Lizzo, would she be Lizzo Lizza? She could be Lizzo Lizza. But Olivia Nuzzi, she's single again, which I think is her natural condition, But never mind that, because there is my friend Matthew Foldy. Matthew Foldy, he's a riot. And he shared with me a Twitter file here. It's a photograph of a young woman, 30-ish years old, and it looks like they're in Utah or maybe Arizona, kind of around the Grand Canyon, and they're posing for a picture. Look like they're hiking, and they're posing. And the headline is, "My partner is monogamous, comma, but I'm not, period. Here's how we make our relationship work." I know how you make it work. Temporarily. That's how you make it work. But it's kind of an amazing thing because they've got this woman whose name is Fernanda Fabian. Fernanda Fabian. Very, very dramatic name. And sure enough, she's 30 years old. That was just my eyeballing it. But yeah. Fernanda Fabian, 30 years old, is a non-monogamous. She's non-monogamous, and her partner of 6 years is monogamous. He's a sucker. He's a moron. He's a chump. And he's going to end up with monkeypox or, some of these, what do they call them? STIs now, STIs. That's, to me, that's like, I think SDI, Strategic Defense Initiative, but they turned it into a venereal disease. Is it from outer space? Sexually transmitted infections. Not STDs anymore, sexually transmitted diseases. But there it is. And they've got an article about themselves because hi, I'm a hoser, and my idiot husband, my man, he's monogamous, but I'm not. When she walks in, he runs a black light up and down over her because, she's there are all kinds of words that I'm deliberately not using in this circumstance because, white guys for Harris. My partner is monogamous, but I'm not. Here's how we make our relationship work, however temporarily. Pretty amazing stuff. And the first response on Twitter is, I'm a whore, and my husband pretends to be okay with it. That's pretty much it right there. That's it. And funny enough, the second one is, ha ha, this makes the joke Trump made about them true. And that's the joke we just played from the Al Smith dinner. But isn't that amazing? The Democrat Party, they are not normal. They are not well. They represent the end of civilization. It's Caligula's court. It's the final days of the Roman Empire. I made reference to 476 A.D., I think last week, which is the year that historians tag the fall of the Roman Empire, 476 A.D. And it's starting to smell a lot like 476 A.D. around here because the left is here to destroy the world. Aren't they something? All right, let's take another phone call and talk to the nice people. There was something else I wanted to grab there because this Olivia Nuzzi, who was engaged to news reporter Ryan Lizza, and then she interviewed RFK Jr., started sending him, at least scantily clad or naked photos and videos. And when her fiance, news reporter Ryan Lizza, found out about it, he said, I don't think we're engaged anymore, hoser. And that was the end of that, right? And now The Guardian out of the United Kingdom, they report Olivia Nuzzi leaves New York Magazine after revelation of RFK Jr. relationship. So now she's not engaged anymore to Ryan Lizza, and now she's looking for work. Now, this won't be a problem for her because she's already demonstrated her propensities, and those will work at a number of different media organizations. Should be fine. It's going to work out fine for her. But if you're a single man in Washington, I'd recommend at least protection. Very important. Protection. Publication said decision was mutual and found no inaccuracies or evidence of bias. It's funny. They use the words, but they don't know what they mean. In Nuzzi's coverage, she's Nuzzi, N-U-Z-Z-I. It's pizza, it's Nuzzi, right? The politics writer, Olivia Nuzzi, and New York Magazine have parted ways just over a month after she was placed on leave following the disclosure that she had engaged in a personal relationship with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. They have the word personal in quotation marks. The departure, you should always be suspicious of any media report that has one word in quotation marks. That means they're being weasels. The departure was announced in a statement from New York Magazine on Monday afternoon. In the statement, the publication noted that the law firm they hired to review Nuzzi's work during her reporting on the 2024 campaign, which included a lengthy profile of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., found no inaccuracies or evidence of bias. Well, sure, that depends on what your standards are. Nevertheless, the statement continued, the magazine and Nuzzi agreed that the best course forward is to part ways. Nuzzi is a uniquely talented writer. When they say uniquely talented, they're not really talking about reporting skills, though, but they call her a writer anyway. And we've been proud to publish her work over the nearly 8 years. What about the photos? You should publish the photos that she sent along to RFK Jr., don't you think? Womp, womp, womp. So the nudie, naked pictures and videos, and I certainly assume that RFK Jr. has been showing him around. Why wouldn't you, after all? Come on, come on. Amazing stuff. Your Democrat Party. Yes, they are. Yeah, so they've parted ways. She's going to need a good hosing down before she moves on to anything else, though. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, yeah, I meant to mention, I mentioned it earlier, President Trump going to McDonald's. I meant to mention, I guess I'm not sure I got it in before I ran out the clock. This is the craziest stat ever. 1 out of 8 Americans have worked at McDonald's. 1 in 8 Americans have worked. Now, Kamala is not one of them, as far as anyone knows. But she just lied about that because she thought it'd make her sound like a regular person and, you know, not her fancy 2 PhD parents and Ivy League this and she did go to Howard University and not Harvard University. It's one thing I'll give her credit for. But, the 1 out of 8 Americans, and this, I couldn't believe it when I heard it. And I saw it in a news report, like and it was a throwaway line from McDonald's. They just said 1 in 8. And I was like, what does that mean? So I went and I researched it, and it turns out 1 out of 8 Americans have worked at McDonald's. And the company bragged about it last year, just about a year ago this week, as a matter of fact. 1 out of 8 Americans have worked at the Golden Arches, McDonald's says. The Today Show had a story about their questioning him. The Golden Arches was launching a new initiative based on the enlightening statistic. That was a year ago. And I thought, wow, 1 in 8, what a company. You know, Ray Kroc, a guy started a burger place outside of Chicago, Illinois. When I was a kid, we used to go to the original McDonald's outside of Chicago with the sloped roof. Oh, that was, and the arches. Somebody made a funny joke the other day because it's the old McDonald's used to have the sloped roof, and that means the Secret Service couldn't get up on that roof because it's a sloped roof and it'd be too dangerous, I think. Completely crazy. And another story from CNBC. Trump tax plan. Trump has a tax plan. Didn't we just have a Democrat yesterday saying that Trump doesn't have an economic plan? Oh, yeah, it was Congresswoman Barbara Lee. She was on MSDNC, and she lies a lot because she's corrupt and unintelligent. But listen to this. Trump tax plans could exempt 93 million Americans from income taxes. Now, they're putting the most negative spin on it possible because they're corrupt, and it's CNBC, and so it's NBC, so it's corrupt. But it's kind of amazing. Donald Trump's tax reform ideas could leave roughly 93.2 million Americans off the hook for at least some part of their income taxes. Now, that's just some part. That's because overtime, you won't be taxed on overtime. You won't be taxed on tipped income. So if you make money off of tips, so if you're a bellman at Anderson Cooper's palatial apartment in New York, you won't be taxed on the tips. If you work at a restaurant at, Chuck E. Cheese, you won't be taxed on your tips. So 93 million people, it's not like they won't pay any income taxes. They would just have a reduction in their income taxes. That's pretty amazing, though, that stat. You know, that football season is heating up, and Prize Picks is the very best place to get real money sports action while you're watching football. With more than 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all of us and made it more fun. The app is incredibly simple to use, too. You pick 2 or more players across any sport. Then you pick more or less on the projections for those players, and you could win up to 100 times your money. Prize Picks even created the Flex Play, so you can still cash out if one of your picks doesn't hit. It's amazing How generous is that? Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code PLANT, and you're going to get $50 credit, a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. That's 10 times your $5 investment. That's the code PLANT, P-L-A-N-T-E, on Prize Picks to get a $50 credit instantly when you play only $5. You don't even need to win to receive your $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for details and restrictions. Yes, sir. Yeah. All right, I've got a lot more. Look how little time I have left. It's amazing. We're at 888-630-9625.
He has not put forth an economic agenda, and he's engaged in some really bizarre types of activities during this campaign.
Since we were just talking about Olivia Nutzy here and her breakup with her fiancé news reporter Ryan Lizza, because of her affair or whatever it was with RFK Jr., there are a couple of updates on that today, and The Wrap has a very important story on this. Olivia Nutzy, ex, that's Ryan Lizza, the reporter, claims RFK Jr. wanted to impregnate her, and she described the affair as psychotic. Psychotic. And they have the words impregnate and psychotic in quotation marks, so there must be quotes. Both Ryan Lizza and Olivia Nutzy are on leave from Politico. Now she's been fired from New York Magazine, respectively, as their legal feud continues. They've got a legal feud now. It turns out now the only dates they have are court dates because they, it's a Washington thing. You wouldn't understand. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. All right, let's grab a quick phone call. Let's go to Joe calling from Dundee, Illinois. Joseph, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah, my first time I ever saw a president eat a Big Mac was Donald Trump on Air Force One. And now he's apparently a fry cook. What about a Trump special?
At McDonald's,
a Big Mac and a fry, for $5 or $6, that kind of thing.
That is a fun idea. They should, they're already protesting out loud. No, we're not a political organization. We're not endorsing Trump because they're afraid of the left-wing mob.
They're based out of Illinois here.
Yeah.
A couple miles from where I grew up.
Yeah.
And and he always supports U.S.-based corporations, which that's what I love about him most.
I like the idea of having a Trump special. I like the quarter pounder with cheese with the large fry. It's not easy being a reporter in Washington, I guess. It's pretty wacky. Pretty amazing. The Washington Post has a story today. Olivia Nutzy and her ex-fiancé, because she's tramping around, her ex-fiancé, Ryan Lizza, and I can see why they, might have married up. You look at their last names, Lizza and Nutzy. There's I-Z-Z-A and U-Z-Z-I. See? Got an L and an N in front of them, but kind of semi-interesting. But turns out that political reporter Ryan Lizza denied in a D.C. court filing that he threatened violence and attempted to blackmail his now ex-fiancée, star reporter Olivia Nutzy. She's not a star reporter. She just found herself embroiled in a sexual controversy involving a member of the Kennedy family, and that's enough to make you a star reporter, even though she wasn't before. In an ongoing dispute between the two that follows an explosive drama in which Nutzy admitted last month to a personal relationship with the subject of an article, former presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., both Nutzy and Lizza appeared via web link on Tuesday in Superior Court, where Judge Sean Staples set a November 19th trial date to consider the petition that Olivia Nuzzi filed for a protective order. The court is considering a motion to close the proceedings from the public. Oh, of course, you got to be discreet about these things. And it's Washington, so it's a circle fest in a hot tub. The Nuzzi petition for a protective order filed 2 weeks ago. She accused Liz of harassment, blackmail, hacking, and making violent threats. Well, come on, he's a news reporter. A judge had previously granted her a temporary order, which expired last Tuesday. Nuzzi was placed on leave last month from New York Magazine after she acknowledged she had had a personal, non-physical relationship with an individual she profiled in November of 2023. She had only written about Kennedy, then a third-party candidate for president, who has since endorsed former President Donald Trump. And that's why he's dead to his family now. And his mother died very recently, too. You may have seen Joe Biden and Barack Obama and Bill Clinton at her funeral, but never mind that. Womp, womp, womp. So it's such drama in Washington. Really, it's like the Real Housewives of New York Magazine or something. The real beeps of New York Magazine. Isn't that amazing? It's also wacky that, and this is the New York Times today, with election 2 weeks away, 15 million voters have already cast a ballot. Some probably more than one, because a lot of Democrats out there on the loose, no doubt about it. And this is comical from Reuters, the Reuters news agency. Harris, Trump pick up the pace 2 weeks to Election Day. Kamala Harris has nothing on her schedule today. She's not campaigning. She's not going anywhere. President Trump is holding a Latino roundtable today with Latino leaders in the greater Miami area. And our great friend Mercedes Schlapp is down there. She's Cubano, Cuban-American, and she's down there for this event today. So she's not going to be on my TV show tonight, but we'll have fun anyway. So Latino leaders asking Trump questions about the whole thing. President Trump today at the Latino Leaders Roundtable. It's Latino Americans for Trump in Miami.
I don't know, but it's going to be close. I mean, she's sleeping right now. She couldn't go on the trail. You think when you have 14 days left, you wouldn't be sleeping. She's not doing anything today. I should take one of that. We've gone 52 days in a row, and I'm going 14 more days, and we're going to have a big victory party, hopefully, and we're going to turn our country around. We're going to make it great again, as I say.
You're going to make it great again. President Trump, Latino Americans for Trump event, and he's talking about Kamala sleeping today, and my mind naturally wandered to her husband, Doug Emhoff, sleeping with the nanny. And since the story here with Olivia Nuzzi is that RFK said he wanted to impregnate her, I'm again reminded of Doug Emhoff, the second gentleman of the United States who impregnated the nanny. And the nanny was brought into the house because she was a school teacher at the private school teaching his kids. And then he knocked up the nanny, got her pregnant, as far as we know, paid for the abortion. And but did he give her a ride to the Planned Parenthood place? I want to know that because, in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Mike Damone didn't show up to give, Stacy a ride to get her abortion. And that was a big part of the scene. And then the girls, they wrote bad words on the side of his car. And that could happen to Doug Emhoff as second gentleman. He wants to be first gentleman, right? So and then he had the girlfriend that he brought to the Cannes Film Festival in France, and he smacked her so hard, she went spinning away like a dreidel. Dreidel, dreidel, I made it out of clay. That is, that's, not the guy you want your sister to be married to. And since we're talking about McDonald's today, this should be noted too, because this is kind of wacky. From 2015 to 2019, So for, 4 years or so, the executive vice president and the global chief communications officer for McDonald's, who was that, you might want to know? That was Robert Gibbs, who was Barack Obama's White House press secretary, hired by McDonald's to be the executive vice president and global chief communications officer at McDonald's, Robert Gibbs. He was terrible as White House press secretary. So, then he went to McDonald's, and you make lots of money. You deserve some cash today because, it's crazy out there. You're a Democrat party. One of the things that I wanted to get to last week that I didn't get to is this Andrea Mitchell thing. You have the Andrea Mitchell. We have this Andrea Mitchell soundbite. Andrea Mitchell on MSNBC, and she, of course, has been an NBC News correspondent since Jimmy Carter was president. I believe that should make her an experienced hand at all of this. And Andrea Mitchell, I used to know Andrea Mitchell. That was a long time ago. Andrea Mitchell was talking about how men are being mean to Kamala Harris and don't want to support her because men are mean. And I like to say, because it's true, that Democrats, they use the words, but they don't know what they mean. And here is NBC News award-winning veteran journalist Andrea Mitchell I think she's trying to use the word misogyny, but she uses the word misogynation, which is a completely different word than misogyny. Here's Andrea Mitchell, NBC News.
What I'm hearing from Democratic and Republican business people and a lot of men, and she's got such a big problem with men. I think there's an undercount of the Trump vote. I think there's misogynation in all of this, black and white men. Big problem.
Misogynation of black and white men. I believe she's trying to use misogyny, since misogynation is a term that refers to interracial marriage. Misogynation was illegal in many Democrat states in the United States, even into the 1970s and certainly the 1960s. But misogynation is a marriage between people who are of different races. That's what misogynation is. And Democrats had laws against misogynation in the United States that held on for way too long because the Democrats are such racists. But Andrea Mitchell, misogynation, award-winning veteran journalist, there's a lot of misogyny. Now, strangely, it's interesting because Kamala is actually, she has a misogynistic marriage because she's married to a white guy who's Jewish and who knocked up the nanny and then slapped his girlfriend around in circles at the Cannes Film Festival. And when you're a Democrat, that's just fine. Don't believe the women, ignore the women. Like Tara Reid, sexually assaulted by Joe Biden. No problem. And the list is too long to get into with Bill Clinton. But, Juanita Broderick and the list goes on and on, Paula Jones and on and on. Yeah, but misogynation. And it's funny, I was in a room full of people when that happened, and I said, well, I think she's, it's like Princess Bride, that she used the word, and she was quite confident and comfortable in the use of the word, believing that the word means that people are not in favor of her because she's a woman. But again,
you keep using the word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
I do not think it means what you think it means.
I think there's misogynation in all of this.
Misogynation. Interracial marriage is a problem with Kamala's candidacy. That's kind of strange. Stacey Abrams, who I believe still thinks that she's the governor of the state of Georgia, she was on CNN yesterday, and she's asked, well, gosh, Kamala's not doing as well in the polls as all we Democrats at CNN would like. Gosh, governor. Do they still call her governor? She was never governor, but they humor her. Stacey Abrams, how do you explain that?
Black men are the second strongest cohort of Democratic voters. What we're seeing, though, is that she is showing them due respect by actually speaking to their issues. And those issues differ from other cohorts. I'm not quite certain why there is this panic about black men voting. They vote. In fact, they vote more than their counterparts in any other community for Democrats. However, we do have to acknowledge that there is sexism, there is racism, there are challenges in our electorate, and that's why it's so important that Kamala Harris is going everywhere and talking to everyone.
She's at home today. She's not going anywhere. She's not talking to anyone. Everything they say is a lie, including and the. They're just amazing frauds, charlatans, liars, and they're in politics. They've found a home in the Democrat Party. Isn't that amazing? And it's the sexism. And black men may be the second most voting cohort, but the whole discussion there was about how the poll numbers are turning against her, specifically involving black men. Come on. And then they went to the Reverend Al Sharpton. That was on CNN, Stacey Abrams. Now let's go to MSDNC, because they have, again, one string on their violin.
Do you think some of the resistance of some men, black and white, is misogynist and
What? Yeah, I do. And resist we much. It's definitely, there's no question. Yes, sir. And then, absolutely amazing, Kamala Harris herself trying to talk about, well, she's talking to Al Sharpton, for one thing, which is a challenge on so many different levels, because resist we much. At least he didn't use misogynation. But never mind that. Kamala Harris.
I think that you are absolutely right.
Al
There's
Sharpton's
this narrative about what kind of support we are receiving.
Narrative. There's absolutely right. And she went on and on about Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm from the 1970s, the 1960s. These people are really lost in another world. And they. Man, oh, man. I'm telling you. Oh, yeah, and then there's this on CNN, Angela Rye, one of their experts. And if Kamala doesn't win, then white people must be held accountable.
What I think is a mistake is to let white folks escape the accountability that they must face for not showing up to save democracy themselves. Like, they want to get mad at presidential candidates, right, when they don't wear a flag lapel pin or they don't see you pledging allegiance to the flag. That's what they want to get upset about. Now, the face of patriotism to them looks like trying to tear down the Capitol in a terrorist attack on January 6, 2021.
Yeah, I remember you guys attacking the White House for 3 days, forcing the evacuation of the president, setting fire to the Church of the Presidents, and 550 other riots, billions in damage, thousands of police injured, burning more police cars than we could count. Angela Rye.
So the responsibility of saving democracy should be on the largest demographic in this country.
Who's that?
That is white men and white women. I don't want to see a women's march with cats come January if something doesn't go right. What I want to see is for them to march themselves to the polls, including today.
We had to clean up her language just a little bit. She's talking about the pink hats that they were wearing all over the place. And white people have to be held responsible.
We're doing our part. It's time for white folks to turn their ire and their attention to each other to ensure they also do their part.
Earn their ire? Again, they use the words, but they don't know what they mean. All right, we'll save democracy by defeating you idiots. How about that? Again, you're welcome. And enjoy electricity. You're welcome. You know that Eden Pure is having their famous BOGO deal on the Thunderstorm air purifiers. Right now, you can buy one Thunderstorm and get one for free. No matter how many Thunderstorms you buy, you get an equal number for free. If you buy 2, you get 2 for free. If you buy 7, you get 7 Thunderstorms for free. You might not need that many, but you could use them as gifts. You know, the Thunderstorm will help completely eliminate any smelly odor, even the worst odors. I mean, cigarette smoke and kitty litter boxes and left-wing protesters, because the O3 molecules seek out and help destroy these odors, even behind and underneath furniture. Nothing can hide from the Thunderstorm, and right now, it's the time to order, because Eden Pure's buy one, get one free sale is for a limited time only, so don't wait. With thousands of 5-star reviews online, we've got 2 of them at home ourselves. People are buying several for around the entire home, and to give as gifts. Just go to EdenPureDeals.com and use the discount code ChrisBogo, ChrisBogo. That's EdenPureDeals.com, and the discount code is ChrisBogo. Yes, sir. Yeah. Wait a minute. The party of the Klan is going around calling everybody racist. The party of Jim Crow. The party of Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Clinton, and for that matter, Joe Biden, want to call everyone misogynist. I got an idea. Stop assaulting women. The second gentleman impregnated the nanny and slapped his date in France around in circles. And they're going to go around calling everybody misogynist. It's the old Russian playbook again.
You're not, unfortunately. We have some predetermined questions, and hopefully I'll be able to ask some of the questions that might be in your head.
That's Maria Shriver of the Shriver-Kennedy family. You may recall, and she was interviewing Kamala at this Kamala event, and they were giggling and laughing it up and talking about eating gummies to take the stress away and stuff. And then we were talking about it, Michael and I, during the break. You know, Maria Shriver was married to Arnold Schwarzenegger when Arnold Schwarzenegger knocked up the nanny, the housekeeper, impregnated the housekeeper. And that housekeeper went ahead and had the child, Arnold Schwarzenegger's child. Wonder where that child is today. Got a future in network TV, I think. But it should be noted that Maria Shriver was interviewing Kamala Harris, and they've got a lot in common because Kamala Harris's husband also knocked up the nanny in his previous marriage. These Democrats, right? And then you got the Olivia Nuzzi and Ryan Lizza story, and you got the, I mean, honestly, you people have a lot of issues. But Arnold Schwarzenegger knocked up the nanny when he was married to Maria Shriver, and the nanny, the housekeeper, had the child. And then, of course, Doug Emhoff, he pulled the school teacher out of the private school, the exclusive school, brought her home to be the nanny, and he knocked her up. And as far as anybody knows, he paid for the abortion. That would be the polite thing to do in Democrat circles, right? Amazing stuff. Also, the entire nation of Cuba has been blacked out, has gone into total darkness because communists, you know. Cuba grid collapses, again raising doubts about a quick fix because, you know, there are commies there. Oh, yeah, and Kamala's sitting down for an interview today with NBC News and Hallie Jackson. They got to edit it first.